Hello, so X-T3 or X-Pro 3. You want to know which one is best? You want to change from one to the other? You already own one and you don't know if you should get another one in addition or change it. This can get quite confusing if you don't know exactly what the two camera bodies do. What are the similarities? What are the differences? That is what I want to talk about in this video right after the intro. Alright, so first of all, let's go over the differences between the two cameras. The X-Pro 3 is 42 grams lighter than the X-T3. Is that going to make a huge difference or a difference at all? I don't think so. It is a no-brainer that the X-Pro series is a rangefinder style of camera, as shown by the viewfinder position on the top left side of the camera, and the fact that you can use the hybrid OVF versus the X-T series, where you only have the EVF, and which looks more like a DSLR. The X-Pro 3 is covered with titanium to make the camera stronger. The Dura Silver and Dura Black versions feature an additional coating to make the camera scratch-proof, or let's say a bit more resistant to scratches, because I saw a lot of X-Pro 3s that had scratches on them. Not as much as you would get on X-Pro 1 or an X-Pro 2, but you still get some. The X-Pro 3 ditched the D-pad to navigate through the menus and for extra shortcuts. You therefore only have the joystick to navigate. The X-T3 has separate dials for shutter speed and ISO. The X-Pro 3 groups them into a single dial that you turn to change the shutter speed or lift and turn to change the ISO. They have implemented a rear monitor that shows the film simulation you are currently using or the settings, a bit like the X-H1. It will stay on even if the camera is off, using a low consumption LCD technology. This screen is mostly for decoration, and the main screen cannot tilt the same way as the X-T3, to avoid chimping when doing street photography mainly. This can be a cool addition, but in my opinion, if you don't want to chimp, just don't chimp. The X-T3 has the same old screen that you can tilt up and down and on the side to take horizontal shots. This is probably one of the most different features that separates the two cameras. The X-T3 boasts a lot of film options and possibilities, making it the best of the two in that regard. You have extra options such as the 4K 50 or 60p, internal 10-bit footage at 400 megabits per second. It outputs a 10-bit 422 signal with HDMI. By the way, the X-Pro 3 does not have the HDMI port. While the X-T4 is now out with a bunch of improvements on the design, such as the IBIS and the new battery that is almost twice the capacity, you can get now the X-T3 for around $1,300 US versus the X-Pro 3 that costs around $1,800 US. So you have a gap of about $500 between the two. Don't forget to subscribe if you didn't do it yet. If you like this channel and the content, this helps me and supports the channel a lot. Thanks. So there is no actual difference in terms of image quality between the X-Pro 3 and the X-T3. They both have 26.1 megapixels and they both have an ISO range that goes from 160 to 12,800. So why would you change, and who are these cameras for? The X-Pro series has always been a rangefinder style design camera. That in itself is really cool for aesthetics purposes, and it is more of an everyday and street photography type of camera. The way it is designed, the way you use it, it's in my opinion made more for that purpose. It is, I think, good for weddings. It is good for candid photography. In fact, the X-T3 can have an additional grip added to the bottom with more batteries, and there's a reason for that. The X-T3, in my opinion, and based on my experience, is more of a professional use type of camera. That's something I use for all my photo shoots, be it real estate, be it weddings, be it photo shoots of family, of kids, and you name it. All my photo shoots are done with X-T series. I do some weddings with the X-Pro series, I have done that. But I tend to go more for the X-T for my professional work for many different little reasons, such as the EVF, fact that it's in the center, it's easier to use for me, and for some people maybe it makes it easier. The fact that when you use the OVF on this one particularly, if the lens is too long or too wide, you will see it on the viewfinder like you used to on a rangefinder camera. Again, I am not saying that this one takes better photos than this one or the other way around, because they have the same sensor. The X-T4 has the same sensor, so you're not going to get better quality of images from this one or from this one, don't get me wrong. So why would you use one or the other? That is a very personal choice, and I think there's only just a couple of points that you need to consider in choosing one or the other. This is a major change that they did from the X-Pro 2, and that is the fact that you can tilt the screen this way and all the way down. So you can open it this way. It's an interesting choice, which I think is more for street photography and shooting from the hip, so it's cool. But now, what if you want to shoot from above? Like if you're in a wedding and you want to do this, you know, often you have like a crowded space. It's really hard to see what's going on here. You can't really see unless you tilt it this way and you know, you tilt it and you look. So how do you do that with such a screen? Or let's say that you want to take a portrait and you want to put the camera lower. The X-T camera is able to do this. You know, so you can just go like this and makes it way easier. It avoids you having to go down to take your photo. This hybrid viewfinder that you find here, the EVF OVF, that is also found in the X100 series, is a really fantastic system because it allows you to see outside of the frame, the guidelines, and you can compose your images better. That's something that can be very useful, but not just for street photography. It can be useful for pretty much anything, everyday life. You know, you can also use it for even for a wedding if you want to take some photos and you know, frame it properly. This is great. It's a great system that you will not get on the X-T3. So on the X-T3, you basically get what you see. That's how it works. That's great for me. It's not for everyone. The viewfinder on the X-Pro 3 is placed on the left. When you look from the back, it's placed here. And that is an interesting choice because you will have to do this. You can use this eye to see what's happening around you. But if you don't want to use that and you want to use the EVF, then it can tend to be a little bit annoying where you don't necessarily want to shoot in OVF, but you want to shoot in EVF. These are globally the biggest differences that I see between these two cameras. And other than that, honestly, it's just a personal choice of camera. I'm interested, what are you using? Are you using the X-Pro 3, the X-T3? Are you using the T series, the Pro series? What's the series that works the best for you? Do you have both? I personally have more than one camera. I use many different types of cameras. So let me know what your experience is in the comment section below. And like always, I see you in my next video. Take care. Cheers.